This YCN segment is brought to you by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide. We continue with the Red Sox, and we look ahead. Maybe a little premature, but we're going to do it anyway with a 9-game lead over the Yankees in the division on Wednesday, and a 7.5-game lead up on the Astros for that number 1 seed. I mean, I thought this Red Sox team would fight for the number 1 seed, but the Astros would end up winning out because they're just a better all-around ball club going into the season. But boy, has this thing turned on its head. This Red Sox team, we were just talking about a little bit, and I mean, this is unbelievable what they're doing. Say they do have a chance to reset their rotation. They don't have to play that last series against the Yankees very tightly. How does that rotation, line up for the playoffs? 4-man rotation. Give me your 4 guys who start in the playoffs.
So I really think, obviously, number 1, Chris Sale.
Right.
And then number 2, it's either going to be David Price or Rick Porcello. I've heard a theory recently that I liked. With David Price going after a lefty like Chris Sale. If you look at David Price, he's kind of like Chris Sale, but not as good, right?
Right.
He's lefty. He can throw power stuff. He has that off-speed stuff. But you get 2 lefties who look the same. You get a really good lefty and then a slightly not as good lefty. The team you're going up against, the batters might adjust to that, right?
Yep.
So if you put in a righty like Rick Porcello, a ground ball pitcher, that might kind of break things up. I'm putting Rick Porcello number 2, David Price number 3, and then number 4, it's going to come down to health probably. Drew Pomeranz right now, he's not consistent. I'm probably putting in Eduardo Rodriguez. When he's healthy, and like we saw during this season, he was really killing it.
Yeah.
He was giving you, I think his one weakness, he wasn't really getting past the 6th inning, but he was really...
he doesn't go too deep.
His ERA was really solid. I mean, right around 3. I think he's probably your 4th guy. The only downside to him, he's a little young, doesn't exactly have that experience. But it's going to come down to health right now. Probably Erod. I know he is a little banged up right now, but he's getting healthy. He's coming back. He's my 4th.
Okay, and before we touch on Erod, because you're right, he is going to be banged up. You mentioned David Price, and we'll get to this. Some people have said putting David Price in the bullpen and not starting him. I personally don't think there's any chance that happens. Because I know he's had his struggles in the postseason as a starter, but you're paying this guy $30 million. He has pitched decent this year. He's had a couple bad games, obviously against the Yankees. I know it's a question mark, but you can't take David Price out. You might give him a short leash. You might say, hey, if he gets going wrong in the 3rd inning, he's out of there. But you can't put him in the bullpen.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think guys like Brian Johnson and Hector Velazquez, they have been really good kind of middle relievers. When the starters have had a bad start, they've come in and given you 3 or 4 pretty solid innings, so I think that's a good backup plan. I mean, how could you put David Price in the bullpen? Right. I think last year he was injured. He came back late in the season. He was getting his strength back. You're not going to put him into a starter's role going into the playoffs, so that made sense, but this year, he's been solid. I mean, last start was really good against the Yankees. I mean, you got to have him starting, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with you, and especially when you look at the starters, you do have a good number of starters. They're just not all that great, and like you said, Erod, can he be healthy in time for the playoffs? Evaldi. What is his role down the stretch? I don't think he gets to start in the playoffs. Like a Pomeranz, I think he goes to the bullpen or something else. But down the stretch, he's pitching well. He stays in the rotation, and maybe he earns a spot. You never know.
I mean, the last 2 starts, if he's going to continue to pitch that well, he could definitely pitch into that 4th spot. I mean, he's got that power arm. He can hit like 97. He would be a big weapon coming out of the bullpen, a strikeout guy. That's probably what's going to happen. That's my prediction. He's going to be a bullpen arm. Probably more of a middle reliever. He might take Brian Johnson or Hector Velazquez's spot as a middle reliever once we get to the playoffs. But I just don't think he's going to get that 4th spot. But I mean, right now, I don't think he's allowed an earned run over 2 starts, right?
Yeah, he's had 2 scoreless starts. I mean, not shutouts because he didn't pitch the whole game, but 2 scoreless starts. And depending on what happens with Erod, if he doesn't come back until late August, if he doesn't get enough starts, he doesn't stretch himself out, because he's been out, by the time he comes back, he'll have been out for, I don't know, a few weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it could be.
With an ankle sprain or whatever.
So you want to get it back in there. Now, what about the bullpen? Who is your 8th inning guy? You got Kimbrel. He'll be fine. I know he struggled last night and he struggled on Saturday, but he'll be fine. Is it Joe Kelly? You still give him the ball in the 8th inning and just hope for the best?
I mean, right now, I think it's probably Matt Barnes. You look at Matt Barnes' number, it's hard to trust anybody. I mean, Hembree, Kelly, Barnes, even Thornburg, it's hard to say. I think Thornburg, he's shown some good stuff recently. I think he got knocked around a little bit. I think he let up a 2-run home run in the 10th inning last night. They ended up still winning, but I mean, right now it's Matt Barnes.
Right.
He's got the strikeout stuff. He's striking out over a guy per inning. His ERA is about 2.5. He's probably your setup guy.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
it's probably Barnes or Kelly, whoever's kind of the hottest down the stretch, and
Right.
see who plays best in the high leverage situation. So lots to talk about. Still a couple months of baseball to go. Football starts this week. Obviously, Patriots and Redskins with their first preseason game. We'll take a break. Talk some Patriots. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.